Good day, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, um, wherever you're listening to me from. I hope you're okay. So I just want to share a few lights on the situation in our country, Nigeria, on the mob and jungle justice across the country and the growing concern in Nigeria at the moment. First, I apologize for the glasses I'm wearing. It's too bright, and I need to keep my eyes okay. And um, please excuse me for that. So I see that there's nowhere in the world that the law allow anybody or anyone to carry out mob or jungle justice across the country, and this is very bad. This is very, very bad. I don't support it. Neither any civilized society or country actually support anything of such. But when things happen in my own case, or when it happens that I have to share my reasoning, I always look at cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. I like going deep down in the root to find out how did this get here, or how do we get here. On how do we get here is how why is mob justice or jungle justice returning back to Nigeria as it is right now. I just want to give us a flashback in 2015 when APC was really desperate in trying to grab power from the ruling PDP party as at that time. And we remember how they went about their political uh, agendas towards taking power from PDP to APC. Now, during those times from 2015, where this really insecurity system or concern in Nigeria got really bad, these same desperate politicians took advantage of young, naive, and hungry Nigerians, and they empowered them with arms. This is not just it's a known fact, not being an alleged for anything. It's a known fact all over the country, and these boys, they they were giving some peanuts, and they were giving arm to create and cause havoc across the country in order that the incumbent government got intimidated or feel intimidated and all that, not to fight back. And we knew what happened. Former President Jonathan felt like, this is not worth the fight, and his ambition was nothing compared to the lives of people that were going to die, and he conceived defeat, and he left the government for Buhari to come in. And after Buhari, we are dealing with Tinubu right now. So now, why is the mob justice growing and getting bigger? The mob justice, as it is right now, it's a major concern. I don't think that the government actually have any legit or plan or strategy in order to fight it, because the same machineries they used in securing power in 2015 by empowering them with weapons allegedly, and not having a measure to which to withdraw or retrieve those weapons from them. Those boys have now seen that as an opportunity, some of which are still loyal to the same government and politicians. Now, so what do? Whenever these boys commit crime and the vigilantes or the community or the people around get these boys arrested and hand over to the police, on their own part, get phone calls from the politicians that are behind them, and you discover that these boys that are being uh, uh, arrested for crime and sent to the police for proper whatever they're supposed to be to face the course of the law. Within this shortest space of time, these boys, some of them don't even have to spend day in the prison or in detention whatsoever, and they are allowed to come out. Yeah, the sun is down now. So the police send them free. And when they are set free, the boys feel more empowered, and they come back to the same community where they were first arrested, where they committed crime. And they go back just like the evil. The evil in them come back stronger, and they go tormenting people and killing people, because they know that once they are caught, They have people who are in power, who are in position to be called or to call them, and they are bailed without, they're not even being bailed, they are just being released back into the system. And now the people are tired of arresting kidnappers, arresting armed robbers, handing them to the police, and only for a few hours later you get to see the same boys walking across the street or driving the same cars, committing crime, raping girls and women and all that, and nothing is being done. So it's more of a frustration on the citizenaries. All right, this is why the mob justice is going on, and there are so many cases like this. Last year or earlier this year, we saw on the news where prisoners who are being, they have been sentenced for crime committed, and we saw a situation on the news where a case was reported where prisoners in the prison are being allowed by those who are supposed to keep them to go outside and commit crime, do further robbery. After they do and they come back into the prison, they are allowed back in the prison. And that was not all. They even, the prison people, the prison warders, even have to bring in girls to have sex with them, to sleep with the prisoners, and they pay them. And the prisoners are attending parties and functions and all that, and coming back into the prison. So in that sense, I don't think they are in a prison. They are just in the facilities where they are allowed to do whatever they feel like and be protected, because that's where, on the other hand, the politicians, whenever they need them to go and cause an havoc somewhere, that's just a place where they can call them. And this is why citizens are taking the laws into their own hands. That look, we no longer have trust. There is no more trust in the in the Nigeria police force, and people are frustrated because they report cases. There are so many incidents that are happening across the country where they go to the police to seek help. Instead of getting help, they get even more uh, troubles from all those things. So the people are tired. So they don't have any other thing else to do. The government has failed them. That's why they are taking laws into their hands. It's not that they have. I don't want to agree or believe that Nigerians are ignorant of the law. No, it is because the law has failed them, or the government or the people at the offices are failing the citizens now, and they are tired of the situation, seeing their women be raped, their young girls be kidnapped and raped and abused every here and there. And out of anger, they are killing people. There was a case I was just rightly being informed by someone from a very reliable source. A man killed someone. A supposed big man killed someone in his own residence, and after killing the person, he dug a grave in his own house and buried that man and built on that grave, and thinking that no one was going to know. Not unknowing to him, there was a neighbor who was in the same story building who saw the incident and was filming him. And now that man, it was, I think that incident happened somewhere in Delta State. The man was an old man, and when he was caught, he was arrested and was taken to the prison, and he died in the prison. Guess what the Nigerian police did? The corpse of the dead prisoner was released to his people, and a massive funeral was organized by his family to celebrate somebody, a murderer for that matter, a murderer. And there's so many incidents that are happening in Nigeria, and there is no justice for the oppressed. So people are really, really tired. I don't want to believe that Tinubu is failing. I also want to believe that Tinubu and his ministers and his people whatsoever, they probably been feeling overwhelmed by the weight of the problem of the country. However, there is no excuse, because I do know that for sure they are aware of the situation of the country before they uh, they contested for the position of the president and all of the other political offices across the country. The situation in Nigeria is getting really, really out of hand, and APC and Tinubu government have to do something really, really fast in fighting social justice, because daily in, day out, we see Nigerians being abused and taken advantage of and brutalized and all these things. And the worst part, the insecurity system is getting really, really worse across the country, and somebody needs to do something. Otherwise, this mob justice, I remember it's not new. I think I didn't witness it, but I have heard of it as a young boy growing up then, until the government at that time came into the rescue and actually eliminated the art of mob justice or jungle justice across the country. But I see that coming back into the system now because the citizenaries are feeling overwhelmed. They are not safe in their own house. The north, the south, the east. Oh my God, that's even the the headquarter of all the killings and all the oppression and all these injustices that are happening across the country. And so is the West. So nowhere in the zone, or nowhere in, I don't mean zone as those people refer to, but no zone in the country is actually void of this mob justice and oppression and killing and Fulani henchmen killing farmers. The farm are no longer safe. As a kid growing up, I remember I used to go to the farm with my mom. I used to go to the farm with my grandmother, and it was a thing of joy. And most of the home produce that we had, home foods that we were eating at that time, were coming from the farm. I remember even having my own small yard behind my mom's kitchen, planting vegetables, yams, and all those kind of stuff. It was a means of survival. Happily, that we just go behind our door in my mother's place, my grandfather's place. We just have everything we needed from the farm, and life, the means of livelihood was quite easy and cheap and affordable to all people at that time. But we can't say that now. That farmers are not even safe. They are not safe to go into their farming. And yet the government is advocating for Nigerians to return to farming, to agriculture as a means of survival and recovering of the dying economy. But which agricultural do you expect them to be doing agricultural from their mobile phone or from the floors of their dining room or whatever, where the farm is no longer even a safe place for them? In issue of cow grazing, I have seen it even in this place, in this country, even in Malaysia, Indonesia, and the nearby country, where people are doing the grazing. It's actually a good business. If the Hausas, the Fulanis, the Northerners in general are not thinking right in this direction on what to do, let the government come in and make it a business for citizens, people who have knowledge about it. Let them come in as a private investors or something like that and do something about grazing. This open grazing is obviously killing people and is creating more insecurity system across the country. We can't just keep quiet and fold our hands like this in the name of you don't criticize the government. This is not criticisms. We have to have a government that should be open to, how should I call it, constructive criticisms and a contribution from the people that they govern, because we elect them. If we elect them and their ideas are no longer working or creating a peaceful, coexistent environment for all of us, then they should seek ideas or contributions from people like all of us. Whether you are in the country or not, there must be one way or the other that we can all work together and make Nigeria a great country that God created it to be. We have everything we need. How come our people are hungry? And there is injustice, there is insecurity, and there is social injustice everywhere. The police are taking advantage of the situation. Then the politicians, they are even the worst. So we have to do something. I also want to believe that President Tinubu is not completely out of order. If we have the elder statement, we give big up to former President Jonathan and Obasanjo that actually spoke on the recent event of the removal or the suspension of the Rivers State governor. I think that got to the presidency and they responded. I heard that they are in court at the moment, and a few days ago we heard Fubara, the suspended governor, assuring people to be peaceful, that he's going to come back. Who knows, maybe. But here is where I'm going to do my submission on this video. I didn't mean to make it so long, but I think that the issue of Natasha as Senate President Akpabio should be attended to with immediate effect. I said that before in my previous video, and I'll still say it again. It is so embarrassing that issue of sitting arrangement in the upper chamber has become a national distraction that is causing that in fact, it is now in New York Times in the US. And Natasha, the lady, the the suspended senator, she's not giving up so soon, and she's fighting back so much. And we saw that she went home and she made a statement of death threat that the Senate president is threatening to kill her, and she has evidence. And if you watch her recent interview with Arise TV and channels, she said that Mr. Sheung was asking her, do you have substantial evidence to prove to Nigerians that Senate president wants you out dead? And she said, well, she may not have it, but when the time we get to the bridge, we'll see what happens. And she dared the Senate president to sue her to court if at all he's not trying to take her alive. So these are serious issues. But at the end of, at the beginning of it, they are just minor issues that a pride of man, if taken out of this, if taken out of the way, this issue could be resolved. Oh, Natasha, this place has, the arrangement has been changed. Oh, we are very sorry. This. A simple apology, I am sorry, could save us from this national embarrassment. And this is my final, this is my conclusion. President Tinubu, I think you started so well, and I started to feel safe and proud as a Nigerian by you going out into the international community saying that it's safe for people to bring in their investment and all that Nigeria is taking a new turn and all that. But in this same government right now, there are events, there are incidents that are happening that are very shameful, that people will not feel safe. If you don't believe, if you don't want to take my word serious, go back to former President Jonathan's speech on the removal of all the suspension of Sinful Bara. Listen to the wise words of the former president, where he actually consures you that no country that makes laws like this, unnecessary and disturbing laws and abuse of laws of office, especially he made mention of abuse of privileges. Abuse of privilege. Remember, it's a privilege to be a president of Nigeria. It's a privilege to be a minister in Nigeria. It's a privilege to serve people. I don't think people like Akpabio, Wike, and President Tinubu and the rest of them, I don't think they see it as a privilege to be representing Nigeria at all these higher level of governance. I don't think that they see that, because they have turned the country into their pocket, and they do whatever they feel like. They feel that they are above the law. When the people wake up, the day the people will wake up, that is the day you will realize that Nigeria belongs to Nigerians. And if we don't do something on time, we don't have to wait until something very terrible happens before we can amend our way and make Nigeria a great country. We must make Nigeria first in all our policy making in order for us to get to where we should be. Look at Dubai. Look at even Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger under our nose. They are waking up.